I just came back from my Europe trip and I went to 2 Ruby conferences, one in Hamburg, Germany, one in Malmö, Sweden. And so as recently many other frameworks gained popularity, that led me to do some research and some interviews. My name is still Carlos. I'm the CTO of a team of remote engineers and I document our learnings on my channel. And today we'll discuss what are some other frameworks or languages that inspire you.
Other frameworks or languages against Django. You know, that's pretty impressive thing. All the different the platform that they have there, a lot of interest in that circle, and a lot that Rails people can learn from, and also they've learned a lot from us by far. It's been great to see the cross-pollination between Django and Rails.
Django versus Rails is not a discussion I want to have now. The frameworks are very similar. One is using Ruby as a language, and one is using Python. I guess it quite comes down to the preference, and I like that he gets inspired by that. I coded Django some time ago for fun. Yeah, Django, there is a lot of app space on it. Quite interesting. For sure, cross-pollination, as he says. We learned a lot we as Ruby people learned a lot from the Django people and vice versa.
What I personally really liked about Java was the strictness of the language. I think we can learn from that in Ruby. What I really dislike about Ruby these days is that typing has been implemented in such a subpar fashion that almost nobody uses it. And I would be really happy if we would have a decent typing system in Ruby, inspired by languages like TypeScript or Java, where this really shines, in my opinion.
Typing is really a discussion right now. I talked to some people working at Shopify, and Shopify uses something called Sorbet. Sorbet is something, it's like a type checker, and you have to write everything in comments. So like this here. You don't write it in comments, you write it like above your methods in plain Ruby. So all this is vetted Ruby code, but it's like at the place where usually comments go. They said it's quite difficult to work with. I don't want to judge this right now. The other approach is the RBS, which is from the Ruby core team. It looks like this, and here the problem is that now you have 2 files, so for every Ruby file you need another file next to that defines basically the types of the Ruby file. Yeah, that Moritz doesn't like it much. Okay, cool. I think it would have really benefited him and his team. So this is the person who made Ruby, Mats. And Mats, so from what people guess, what the rumors are, is that Mats doesn't like to put in types into Ruby because at one point AI will take care of that anyway, and we'll have such strong tooling that the typing is not necessary anymore. So apparently that's what's going on. But this is for another discussion some other day.
I don't know. I've used a little bit of Go, a little bit of Rust, and I think it's always interesting to look at these other approaches, and I feel like sometimes the absolute explicitness of something like Go and Rust in terms of like things like memory management and also concurrency and everything is something that we can learn from.
For sure, concurrency is not done really well in Ruby, and yeah. I know Jan, he is one of the smartest people I know, and yeah, I could imagine that he probably likes to code in Rust. Okay, let's see what Henning has to say.
I definitely missed out on all the hype on JavaScript frameworks. So I don't know, I shifted my career to management when React was coming. So I then shifted to management, and now I'm back to Rails development. So I don't know, it's really heavily I'm leaning on to Ruby on Rails. Other technologies, I don't know, the whole new AI technologies, what's going on around there, right? So it's amazing what you can do.
Yeah, I share this. I'm also very impressed with the new JavaScript framework. I coded a bit of Vue.js. My team has made a couple of projects in Vue.js and Nuxt. And also for fun, I coded some Svelte, and that was also a bliss. So yeah, for sure, that stuff has a lot of potential.
I was playing around with Elixir and Phoenix last year, so I really liked the live view part of that. Sort of tried Next.js last year as well in the transition from the pages to the app router. It was pretty like a huge mess, so I ditched it actually for Elixir, and now just picked it up again and matured a bit, so it's like way better usable, in particular for the highly dynamic use cases.
I think Hotwire, as I discussed in the previous video, Hotwire was inspired by LiveView. So Phoenix, Elixir, they did it for the first time, and then some other frameworks put these very dynamic server-side rendering for like pushing into the front end frameworks. And now we're very inspired by those guys. And I think at one point, a couple of years ago, a lot of people from Ruby actually went to Elixir. So yeah, it's a cool language.
I mean, I actually use a lot of languages. Like if Ruby on Rails is not there, I would most probably work around Elixir. I would going to do a lot of TypeScript, which I also like to do. So those are, I think, the two technologies which I would jump in.
Rado told me that in his last company, Product Hunt, they used Next.js and then working on a GraphQL interface. So yeah, I could imagine that he's a fan of JavaScript.
Yeah, I recently started programming like 1.5 years ago. I started working with Rust. I really like the result abstraction. I really like errors like this.
Okay, so Rust result object. That's something I only tapped in quickly because I didn't code Rust much. It's a great language though. Yeah, you always get some result objects. Let's see if we can find some here. Oh yeah, those are the result objects of Rust. So it's either okay or an error. And then there's, I think, a maybe type, but I'm a bit rusty in Rust, so I won't go deep into this. But yeah, it makes for really predictable results. It's totally awesome.
Yeah, right now I'm quite impressed with the Laravel community, or Laravel community, whichever the appropriate pronunciation is. And particularly, I think that they're doing a really good job in communicating what the path looks like for front-end developers who are starting to get curious about what it would look like to run a quote-unquote server-full application.
Interesting notion. I don't know how many people are going from front-end to the back-end. I think this is super interesting. If you're a front-end engineer and you want to learn back-end, I would love to talk to you and just learn about your challenges. So write a comment, please. And if you want to check out the other videos, for example, this one over here, you can click right there.